We are already on patch number 3. Let's see what's in store for us today. First up, we've got the Goblin Flamethrower. The Flamethrower is currently only creative only. You can light up any mobs you see, as well as the environment, and you can watch the new fire spread system come into play. So if we just light up this beautiful forest, the fire will actually spread. And turn all of the wood into burnt logs. All spear types that are currently available to the player, or potentially will be available to the player in the near future, should now stack up to 5 and also be throwable. This includes the bone spear, thorium, bronze, cobalt, crude, fishbone, leaf, onyxium, scrap spear, and the stone chalk spear. And if I try to throw it, it should just work properly now. Most range weapons have been updated with improved accuracy. On top of this, short bows and crossbows can now use ammo directly from your backpack, which will be the top 2 rows, I think. So let's have a look. We've got a target over there. Let's see if we can hit it. Wow, that was actually a decent shot. Not a bullseye, but not bad for my first shot. The Rekindle Ember Summon book has been updated to add a variety of types of skeleton minions that can be raised, including this new guy, the range variant. Your summons are faster, more aggressive, no longer take damage from you, and vice versa, although in a previous video I already showcased that was the case, so I'm not too sure about that one. And finally, respond to threats when you are attacked, rather than you attacking the mob first. So if I get hit, all of these guys should attack this skeleton. Wow, okay, they decimated him. We now have sickles. There are 2 variations. You've got the crude sickle, which can be crafted from the farmer's workbench at tier 2, and the rusty steel sickle, which I'm unsure of how to get. Probably a mob drop or just creative only. Sickles allow you to harvest multiple crops with one swing. Oh, that's really nice. Looks like it also auto-plants it for you, which is just a nice bonus. Some of the friendlier animals, such as chickens, can now be tamed. In order to tame them, you need their favorite food, which can be confirmed by interacting with them with an empty hand. When you get close, you see there's little hearts that appear, and if I try to tame them... Oh, did they just get tamed in one go? Well, they will... I guess they're just mine now. Do they follow me? A little bit. So tamed animals won't run away from the player, which it looks like they're not. You can pet them, sometimes walk up to you to greet you, and in the cases of creatures such as horses, you can also mount them, even though I think you could anyway. It just says in my notes, tamed animals can also be milked, sheared, or mounted every once in a while. Everyone's favorite rhino toad now has a green variant. I don't think this is the green variant. I think this is their... their default blue variant. I don't know if it's just a rare spawn, if it's a biome specific, or what, because in our creative menu, there is no green rhino toad. Even if I search up green, you will not find it. So I don't know if this is currently in the game, or if I just need to go and search for it. Who knows? Speaking of the rhino toad, its attacks have once again been updated. I honestly, once again, cannot tell you what is different. It continues to alternate between its tongue and headbutt. Maybe the cooldown between attacks are a bit longer, but I don't know. One thing that I can't really show off but worth noting is that a lot of NPCs now have improved target switching behavior, meaning that if there was another player or so next to me, this rhino toad may choose to attack me and then attack my friend next to me. The map has some updates and a few new features. You can place map markers anywhere with customizable icons, colors, and names, with the ability to share it with other players. Here is a showcase of all of the different icons and colors. Also, text should be a bit more readable now. If you wish to remove any marker, simply right click and remove. These icons will also appear on your compass. They should tell you whether your destination is above or below you. However, I cannot seem to get this to work at all. Also, you should be able to toggle marker visibility on your map and compass in your settings. Don't ask me where. I couldn't find it. The sort keybind now works in the player's inventory, which by default is, I think by default it's T, does not work for the hotbar. The take all functionality, which in my case is Q or by clicking this button, now works for all processing bench output items. So if I click Q, it adds it directly to my inventory. By holding down shift and left click, you can now drag your mouse over items to directly put it in or out of an inventory. Oh, thank God. I love this. If you've ever wanted to empty your hand whilst using the utility wheel, you can now select empty slots instead of just the bottom slot to empty your hand. We have a few new blocks and variations to find. They re-added the incandescent volcanic rock, and we also have 4 new cracked blocks. I think this is the thorium cracks block, but it's just called the poison volcanic rock. Cracked basalt, cracked magma, and cracked mud. Cobalt has an updated texture. Supposedly there are cracked variants for a couple of ore blocks, but they don't tell us which one, nor are they in the creative menu. Maybe it's referring to the cracks when you mine it? They also say they've added lime block variants, which would have included lime gravel, rock, rubble, medium rubble, stalactites, large and small. However, even in the creative menu, I cannot find them. Maybe they're in the game generating somewhere, but if you want to sport it in yourself, no can do. We have some adjustments to crafting and workbenches. The craft time of all crude items is now instant. We have some major changes to the craft time of 2 items. The builder's bench has gone from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. And the chicken coop has gone a step further from 4 seconds to 2. Insane. I think they overdid this one. Also for chicken coops, it's now only tier 3 instead of tier 5 for your farmer's workbench. Upgrading your farmer's workbench to tier 5 now only requires dry wood instead of redwood logs. And tier 7 now requires the redwood logs instead of drywood logs, so they've just swapped them around. Tankards are now craftable from a farmer's workbench tier 1 for 1 hardwood plank and 1 iron ingot. You can fill it up by right-clicking water. You can drink it, but its main use is to turn into dough, which does not consume the item. Furnaces now have a new model, texture and animations for the tier 1 and the tier 2. This is them turned off, and this is with them turned on. I do like the tier 2 furnace. We now have avatar presets located in the top right. You can edit, save and swap up to 5 avatar customizations. So this is my main character, and this is the test I just made. I could make 3 more if I wish. If I make a random change and decide to swap off, we get a message warning me to either save or discard any changes. And if I am unhappy with customization, I can remove it entirely. And I get to show off a bunch of new clothing items and accessories without messing up my model. So I've made a naked model to throw on all the new pieces of gear. Firstly, in the legs category, this sock icon is now referred to as leg wear instead of overpants. Here is the tweed hat. And of course, to showcase that this game is still indeed in very early access, we now have a hard hat. I thought it was appropriate to add a bit of hair to my character as we have a new head accessory, which is the hairband, the mage shirt, 3 new shoe types starting with styled flats, wedge shoes, and shaped sneakers. We also have new colour variations for fashionable shoes, which just changes this little tongue on the shoe. I don't know which colour is new or if just the colour variations itself is new, but there you go. We have a new wrist item, the spiked bracelet, which also can just be toggled to be 1 arm only. I've created a monstrosity, but we also have 2 new skirts. This one being the punk skirt, which you can hide the belt, and a plaid skirt. Aren't I cute? Right, well, I couldn't be asked to try and find this, but there is now also black and red iron colour variation for some metal cosmetics. Good luck finding them. 6 new haircuts to choose from, with the spiky mohawk, magical pigtails, double braided ponytails, long braided ponytail, puffy ponytail, and 1 additional new haircut, but for some reason they don't actually list it. Here are the new 5. Maybe this one's new? My notes also mention that they have updated the visuals for the morning haircut. However, there's just not any haircut called morning, so I don't know. There are 4 new facial hairstyles. I've got to be careful with this one, but this is the split mustache, the pinstripe mustache, anchor beard, and the Viking beard. I don't know which one is new, so I'll just show off both of them. We have 2 additional eye shapes, but I don't know which 2, so I'll show them all off. This is medium, large, balanced, almond, square, reptile, feline, demonic, goat, and balanced square. Under general and face customizations, we now have blush, as well as a deep blush, and eyeliner. If you're in creative mode and wish to return to the crossroads, you can now do that from the map, previously called the hub. The new layer command has been added. The paste tool in the creative menu has been updated. If I get the tool and select any asset in the game, which we're going to do this one, I can now hold down right click to spawn multiple of it. This should also apply to your undo and redo keybind, but for some reason this isn't working for me. Also, the paintbrush tool's default shape should be a sphere instead of a cube, and generally smoother multi-directional movements have been added, so it should be a little bit more easier for someone to use these creative tools. You will now get a warning when loading into worlds with missing mods. So from the simple trash mod, I have the trash can, so all I've done is disabled it. I'm assuming that this is the warning, but this is specifically to do with outdated stuff. There was no other warning. So, I don't know. You're supposed to get a warning. A scroll bar has been added to your mod section. This would also apply to your server list, but I don't exactly have a lot of servers, but just imagine that there is now easier navigation for this screen. They've added an option to skip mod validation in your settings screen for your world. I advise you only do this if you know what you're doing. There are 3 other changes worth noting that I can't directly show you. They have added server validation checks for plugin and asset packs. Mod validation issues now block server startup unless flagged, and added duplicate plugin detection warnings. Before I move on to all of the other changes, I was going to include a section for environment and regions. I can't really show this off because I don't want to travel around the world trying to search for a random structure, so I will just read them off to you instead. Added complex spawn locations in the taiga region, especially near rivers. Do you mind? Tigers are found in Zone 3, by the way. You've got Zone 3 Trorks, Zone 4 Village and Forest changes, and Zone 4 Non-Forest and Non-Swamp Biome changes. What these could entirely entail, I'm not too sure. In the beautiful Forgotten Temple, this Clorp merchant has now been moved inside of his tent. They've removed the trade the sign for another sign, so you cannot even interact with him at the moment. Any warps, both from the player and from the environment, now require a small distance for you to clear before you can re-enter it. As you can see, I'm going to phase right through it until I get a little bit away, and then try again. All of your warps are now sorted alphabetically. If you remember from last video how I showed off Ophidiophobia mode to change all snakes into those cute little hatworms, those hatworms have now been changed into the lava silk models. To prove that these are indeed snakes, even in creative mode, I cannot even spawn in a snake that changes into them, they just spawn as the lava silk model itself. We got 2 new changes to the bug and feedback system. They have now been separated into bug report and feedback, although to me this looks the exact same, and the feedback interface has been updated. If you happen to play in windowed mode, you can now change the size of your display. Currently there are only 2 options, well 3 if you include full screen. They have improved the in-hand positioning for sticks and ingots. And in third person, if you are playing a multiplayer, you will now get notifications and sound effects at play when other players attempt to sleep. If you happen to sleep at a time where it is still daytime, you will hear this sound instead. Doors should no longer close when blocked by entities or players. Except, it's a lie! It still pushes you out the way. And if you think it's maybe just referring to the big ones, no. They either phase right through you or you still get pushed. Sword swing and impact sounds have been updated. Most death messages have been cleared up or updated. With the Machinima tool, which can be found in the creative menu and Machinima, you can now change the playback speed. Default is 60. They have updated workbench chest connection radius text to be clearer, which I believe is this text. If I am wrong, please let me know. Climbing has been updated. You should now be able to mantle whilst sidestepping and holding forward, as well as dropping down. And whilst climbing up ropes, you can now go around them. Work it, baby. And finally, grass spreading is now a thing. As you can see, this dirt patch is slowly filling in. It also looks like it can randomly do multiple blocks at the same time, which is nice.
Just as a heads up, you may have to wait a little bit longer for future update videos. Rather than pump out small weekly or bi-weekly updates, the Hytale team wants a bigger content drop every 4 to 6 weeks. The timings may vary a bit. The full patch notes can be found down below. Hope you've enjoyed. Okay, love you, bye!